Hello, international students. Welcome to the United States. Adapting to a new culture can be challenging, and this video addresses an important component of living as an adult in the United States. In this presentation, you will be given information on banking, which includes bank accounts, international wire transfers, overdrafts, making payments, bank deposits, credit cards, debit cards, and using ATMs. Banks generally offer two types of accounts. Those are savings accounts and checking accounts. Savings accounts are useful when you want to earn interest on long-term deposits. Checking accounts are useful when you need to withdraw money frequently. A checking account is generally sufficient for the majority of students. When you open a checking account, you will be given a debit card and checks. With your checking account, you can deposit your scholarship funds, receive wire transfers, and pay bills. To set up an account, you will need two forms of identification. Your unexpired passport and visa will suffice. An initial $100 deposit is usually required to open the account. Some banking institutions charge a monthly fee to maintain the account unless you maintain a certain account balance. This amount changes from bank to bank, so inquire about these monthly rates. Also, if you are under a certain age, the bank may allow you to have a checking account free of charge. If you are still uncomfortable speaking English, you may want to look for a bank that have employees that speak your language so mistakes can be minimized. International wire transfers are important if you want to send or receive money. For international wire transfers, you should consider obtaining an account with a larger banking institution because bigger banks handle more wire transfers and you are thus likely to have more of a pleasant experience. In order to make a wire transfer, you will need the routing number, which is the bank's identification number and is the first set of numbers on your checks, and your account number, which is the second set of numbers on your checks. Overdrafts occur when you write a check or use your debit card without having sufficient funds in your checking account. Banks handle overdrafts differently. Some will cover the purchase amount and then charge that amount and interest. Other banks will return the check to the merchant or your debit card will be declined. A good way to avoid overdrafting your account is to monitor your account closely through your institution's website. With your checking account, you can make purchases electronically with your debit card, or you can use checks. Most merchants accept both credit cards and checks. If you decide to write a check, you will need to fill out the appropriate information. You will need to fill out to whom you are making the payment, the date, the dollar amount written out in a numerical form. You may also want to make note of what purchases is for in the memo section of the check, and finally, you need to sign the check. There are several methods for making bank deposits. With many banks, you can deposit checks and cash in your institution's ATM, or you can deposit a check or cash with the teller. If you decide to deposit funds with the teller, you will need to fill out a deposit slip. On the deposit slip, you should write the date, the bank's transit number, number of checks, and the check amount and the amount of cash. Credit cards are used to make purchases on credit. This means you use the bank's money to buy items and they will charge you interest on your purchases. Credit cards can be used to build credit, but be careful because if you're unable to pay off your balance each month, interest rates can range anywhere from 13 to 23% depending on your credit card. The less credit cards you have, the smaller the chance you have to make purchases on credit. So keep this in mind when deciding how many credit cards you get. If you're unable to make payments each month, your credit will suffer, which will make it difficult to get loans and even rent an apartment. Debt is serious, so be cautious with credit cards. If you lose your credit card or if it is stolen, report it to your bank immediately and you will not be held responsible for purchases made by someone else. Debit cards are like electronic checks. Once you use your debit card to make a purchase, funds are immediately deducted from your account. You can use your debit card to withdraw funds from ATMs and to pay for purchases everywhere that accepts them. You can withdraw funds from your bank's ATM at no charge. You can also make transfers and balance inquiries. However, if you use the ATM of another bank, you will be charged a fee by your bank in the bank of the ATM you use. Some banks charge a fee of $2.50 for using the ATM of another domestic bank and a $5 fee for using a different bank's ATM abroad. There is also another fee charged by your bank for having to convert the dollar amount to the local currency. You are now familiar with the basics of banking in the United States. There are many banks to choose from, so think carefully about your banking needs, and you should have a pleasant banking experience for the duration of your stay. Good luck, and remember that banking can work for your benefit if handled appropriately.